Hello and welcome to my first episode. This is Lauren Powell with Prepswithpowell, and today I wanted to bring you to my kitchen to make a few of the staples that I've seen based off the Paris 2024 Olympics nutrition guide. So I say nutrition guide loosely because it's not as if, they put the whole menu and what the athletes will be eating or not eating in the dietary restrictions or non-restrictions. But just based off of the different regions and the foods they have by those regions, I have compiled a few recipes that I cannot wait to share with you. So the first one is gonna be the salad. So it's actually based off of, let's see, I'm gonna actually get my form and I'm gonna show y'all the region. Okay, so the first region where the salad is from is actually not Paris. So I realized there are 8 regions, and I thought Paris was just like the biggest one, and they were getting everything shipped to Paris. But the name of the game is sustainability and incorporating the different foods from the entirety of France. So these are from the French regions, and the first one that I have is, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry for mispronouncing this. I took Spanish all my life, not French, so excuse me. The first one is Lyon and Saint Etienne. I am so sorry. Between that, and I also have incorporated the Nantes. Nantes or Nantes? Look, I'm an American. Y'all don't like America, that's fine. I understand. I get the American hate too. But these are 2 regions. So for the salad, I'm going in with the apples, pears, and the actual salad itself. And I'm using spinach. I'm allergic to lettuce, so I can't eat lettuce, but I can't eat spinach. So I have spinach. I'm gonna cut it up for y'all, show you the bowl, and we're just gonna go from there. So yeah, let's start off with the salad. So instead, I'm going to use just a plain bag and recycle it because we are trying to save the earth and use real sustainability. So I'm gonna recycle it, but we're gonna do chicken, and I'll just do some recording, maybe do a little voice generation because it's kind of hard to talk and record. This is my first video where I'm cooking and talking. I'm just usually a cook. I just cook. What can I say? Okay, let's start now. While shopping, there were some things I took into consideration the most, being keeping the foods as close to the traditional and culture-rich ways as possible, I guess. So I looked at the form, like I was saying, and the salad is coming from 2 regions. And that's really fun because the thing with the regions is that people can express the food and use the food in different ways. So even though you can find the pears and apples in both, well, you can find them in Lyon, Saint-Étienne, and Nantes. You can also find different ways that people would make them. And then there were also the carrots that also came from Nantes. And you can also find potatoes in Nantes as well as Paris, Ile-de-France. Like, there were so many crossroads, so many crossways, so many different types of these foods. So I just used the ones that were in my HEB, shout out to Texas, and just tried to come up with something in this kitchen. The cool thing in the Paris Food Vision also is that each competition site is supposed to use at least one recipe that includes local and seasonal products. So in my mind, as I was cutting up the different foods, I wanted to try my own recipe. A few months ago, I wrote down a few things I thought would be cool. I looked through these different foods and I was trying to find things that are traditional that you would see during the season, that people make at home or during special events. And the fun part, I keep saying the fun part, all food is fun to me, but really the fun part is that these foods that are special and traditional and so full of culture, it's that culture and that fun for them, it bleeds into the sport. So the food matters. Like, kind of when you think of your memories with food and how it affects your performance, a lot of people have leftovers and they take their leftovers with them and they're snacking on that or eating on that in between gained in between activities. So it was really important to me to find foods and find recipes that are both appealing to people's sense of identity and culture, especially for the athletes competing that are native to France, native to these regions of in Paris and what's not. And also it's important to keep them healthy, because I noticed a lot of these recipes have dairy, heavily rooted in dairy. So lots of milk, butter, cheese, especially because when I was looking through the region, Paris and Ile-de-France, they actually have down at the bottom, it says brie. They have two different types of brie. I'm not even trying to pronounce them because I already took some time to figure out how to even pronounce the regions. But they have two different types of cheeses. And when you check out these recipes and these people that live in France or study classical gastronomy there, they have a lot of restaurant experience, and the restaurant experience is dairy. And I'm not sure yet, I'm still researching if dairy is a part of the poor man's diet. Because if it is, that makes sense. So at least in America, the poor man diets can be a lot of dairy. You can find dairy for the low, and whatever you can find for the low, and that whatever you can eat and use that as fuel is what you can use. So I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. We're gonna go back to the salad. Right now, I'm going in between cutting the onion to go with the potatoes and chicken, and then cutting up the apples. So this is a really nice apple. I actually just got one big one. It's actually funny. Whenever I make apples for myself, I get one. Like whether I'm dicing it or just eating it straight, I just get one apple and I can just live off that one for a minute. So if this is for multiple people, if this is a bigger salad, I would change the amounts. And please excuse me, I am actually having a conversation with my grandma, and I did have to take it out because she was getting me distracted. But in between cutting, I'm trying to explain to her about how the athletes competing right now in Paris are, let's see, what is a nice way to say it? I was saying how they are probably coming from a strict lifestyle or diet or plan that they were on prior to actually arriving for the Olympics, and how the food, like I'm noticing with the food, it's more about how much you can get out instead of the quality of it. And look, there is going to be an episode about the quality and how the food quality is going down. But it's true. It's just like the food quality is going down, even though Paris is swearing up and down that they are prioritizing sustainability. There are still issues with the sustainability label, and just having a label and putting everything on the umbrella of sustainability and health and all these other buzzwords. It doesn't make things good. It doesn't make them perfect. It doesn't make them the best. So I think it's better to just use higher quality ingredients, try to get them as good as you can using the means that you have, because it's just been a recurring theme from the early 1400s, 1300s, 1200s, whatever hundreds. My camera won't focus. Anyway, as I was saying, the whole thing about stretching with what you already have, and that's really a core belief that I've researched for French cuisine, from using minimal ingredients, because dating back to those medieval times where only nobility could afford the rich, expensive salts and imported spices and game meats and everything else, even those grains. It makes me wonder why the list for the regions, it has all these amazing fruits and vegetables and so many things that people are looking forward to eating, especially coming from whatever strict regimen or lifestyle they were having ahead of time. So I was just telling my grandma how I'm just nervous. I'm just nervous to see if they're able to carry this out, if they're truly able to use these fresh ingredients from all 8 regions and to come up with something good that's also not feeding into the Americanized, at least I'm talking about from my point of view, the Americanized version of what French cuisine is, and truly bringing the essence of the food and the culture to the forefront. In my opinion, the forefront is the fruits and vegetables. That's where they're gonna get most of their nutrients from anyway. So seeing salads, seeing the toppings from these fresh gardens that they have, seeing where they said that their labels are coming from, all these major home-based, farm-based corporations that are pouring into their country. So I would love to see big companies that their families grew up together farming these fruits and vegetables and deciding to sell it to the major Olympics when it comes to their country. That would be amazing, seeing a salad like this from somebody's hometown. Like, do you see the vision? Do you see the vision I'm coming with right now? Okay, so this chicken I'm using, just the naturals. I normally do chicken thighs, but I don't know. I used to use tenders back when I was in school, so we're going with tenders. And my favorite part about poultry is that it's like mushrooms. Like, people think that mushrooms aren't good. People don't like mushrooms. They think they're not good because they don't have a specific taste. But chicken is like mushroom. It only tastes like what you season it with. So if you like to season your chicken, you think chicken is supreme, you can season some mushrooms. Especially the oyster mushrooms, those are really good. So I just gonna use these. And I'm gonna season it with some basics. I say basics because when I go to France, I'm actually gonna go and try to find some spice shops I can find authentic seasonings, but I'm just gonna use what I normally do at home. So if I find something similar to those herbs, like I have chives that I'm gonna use when I cut up my potatoes and to top off my chicken. But in addition to chives, there's also tarragon, I believe. And when I was looking for recipes, a lot of them just said something like native France/French provenance, something to that nature, something to that effect. So I'm guessing there is a blend based off the region. So I'm gonna try to find a region that matches what I have in my pantry, and that's what I'm gonna season the chicken with. Okay, so as it turns out, I actually did have a lot of the seasonings that the recipes actually call for. So right now, I was trying to find some sea salt, but I think I'll go without it just because I'm gonna be using some other things. I don't need to be salt heavy or salt forward today. So these are the herbs that I actually have. I have oregano, garlic, onion, thyme, and even look, tarragon. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay, so here's the chicken. So we're gonna make some magic happen. And I'm gonna smell it and see if it needs something and maybe taste it later, but I don't wanna go super salt heavy or salt forward. So after marinating the chicken, I tossed it in the bag and got the skillet nice and hot. So I always try to get it hot at first because I don't wanna put the chicken onto a burning skillet. So get it hot, let it get hot, okay, and then turn it down. So then turn the burner down. So then when I put it on low, I always go in between. Am I gonna add garlic right now or not? Because I love adding garlic to all of my proteins. But the problem is if you put the garlic on too early, it'll burn. So I don't know if I put the garlic, I really can't remember. I'm in editing mode right now, y'all. But I had the garlic on standby, and I'm pretty sure I just added it with the potatoes along with the herbs. So when I take the chicken, I don't want to do any kind of cross-contamination. So I just use two things. Just use two tools and keep the chicken away from other surfaces besides the skillet. So even though we're talking about chicken right now, I do want to go back to the force meat real quick because I'm realizing that it's a bigger deal than I had once thought. Because force meat is used in a lot of charcuterie dishes, and there's 4 different types. So if I were to use force meat, I don't know if I would use the country style, or is the word gratin? Don't do that to me. Or is it straight force meat? Because that one is just pork with another fat in equal parts. But I don't really like pork, and not for religious reasons, but just because I know it does to your body. And I've really been switching to turkey if I want to have bacon, or if I want to have my sandwich, try to keep away from pork. So in other recipes I will post here, if you see bacon, it's not pork bacon. It is not pork bacon. I know it's kind of crazy because where I'm from, bacon is a thing. But I like my meat like this. Like, this chicken is lean. It's lean meat, and it hasn't been mixed half equal parts or whatever with other meats. And I like how it cooks. I like that I can have a consistency with cooking chicken. So big ups to France for including poultry in their dishes. I did add onions. Okay, so I didn't add garlic this time, but I added onions and still kept it on low. The thing with cooking onions with the chicken that I like is that at the end I can add those now caramelized onions to the rest of the meal. So think about it this way. My appetizer: spinach salad with diced apples and pears with a light dressing, optional. And then the main dish is this chicken with this soft chicken with this soft onions. You see this beautiful glaze, this beautiful color. I'm absolutely obsessed with it, and the onions are not burnt. Like I said, have it on high and then put it on low. I can't wait for y'all to see how the chicken came out. But next, so I actually almost did just baked potatoes, but I'm obsessed with boiled potatoes and then possibly mashing them. So I boiled my potatoes in veggie bouillon cubes just because I like to give them a little extra flavor to be cooked in, and I say it makes a difference. You see the potatoes, very beautiful color. I like to scrape them, but I don't take all the skin off because I still like the properties from the potato skin. Depending on which potatoes you get, all of them are different. So I cook my sweet potatoes differently, but you see how I have still some of the skin left on? That's me being obsessed with the fiber, potassium, vitamins, and of course the riboflavins in the potato peels. So all these things have various functions that I may or may not discuss, but just know that I will always keep some skin left over my potatoes. So I know everyone feels differently about butter, especially with inflammation, but I personally don't like to use it in my potatoes, at least, because it inflames me. So I always put avocado or extra virgin olive oil. So that's what I did with my potatoes. I added some salt, and then I proceeded to add my herbs and get the garlic, especially the garlic. Since I didn't use it in the chicken, I made sure to put it deep in the potatoes so that I get that really nice fragrance. I guess it's not really a flavor profile for me, it's more about the smell. So a smell profile. Now I'm gonna put it all together. I still have separate plates, but now it's time to taste the chicken and give y'all my last thoughts. Okay, so I just cut a piece off before I dice it and finish putting it with the rest of the meal. So I'm not sure, you see that? Can you see all the herbs on it? Or even, like, it's just very fresh. I don't know how to describe it. It's very fresh. Usually when I have chicken, it feels like it's too much on it, but by just using the fragrant herbs and keeping it simple, I did add a little bit kosher salt at the end, but just to top it off. I didn't marinate it with the salt, and it's so much better. Oh my gosh, I wish I could eat this. I'll do it for you.